Hello and welcome everyone to another StarCraft 2 England cast. Today I've got a game between QuanticApocalypse, who is the blue Terran in the lower left, and in the top right we have TSLPolt, who is the red Terran. That means that this is a TvT, and well, I don't cast many TvTs, I don't know why. I just don't seem to find many, to be honest. And the ones I do find tend to be super long, but this is from the IPL5 KR Qualifiers, so it's a super top level game, which is awesome. And it's, well, it's TvT. Who cannot be happy about Terrans playing, because especially when you've got Polt in there. Polt's such a good Terran player. Apocalypse is as well, but I think Polt is going to take this series, I would expect. I don't know whether he'll go 3 games. I reckon it probably will. I reckon Apocalypse will get to take one. But of course, TvT is actually a really strategic matchup, because it all comes down to, in the end, tank movement and whether you can get drops on top of the tanks, the air superiority. There's just a lot to it, and you tend not to see any super early aggression generally, but rather more macro games where both players really just get up high tank numbers, and then it becomes this bit of a slugfest of who can get better positioning. And there's some really big engagements, and it's all about the sieging, unsieging, etc. So it'll be really interesting to see how this game goes. I'm going to be honest, TvT is my least understood matchup. I'm actively trying to understand it more. But of course, I think all mirror matches are like that a bit. Unless you play the race, it can be a bit confusing. I mean, especially ZVZ, I think, is really confusing to non-Zerg players, or even the people who aren't high-level players, because you look at ZVZ and you just see this kind of mess where suddenly everyone's getting Zerglings, and then they're all getting Banelings, and then suddenly everyone's got Roaches, and it's all really confusing and really stressful, and there's little subtleties in the drone numbers and things like that. But anyway, back to this game. That's the important thing. We do have a variation in the build already. We have a gas down for Apocalypse and no gas for Polt. So Polt actually looking like he's going to be taking a fast command center, because he does have enough minerals for it. May actually see a 1-rack command center, but we do have a supply depot going down at the moment to deny that vision. A Marine coming out just to kill the SCV. Meanwhile, Apocalypse, he's still mining gas. He's got up 100 now, so this is where we could see a factory go down, and that's exactly what we're going to see. And there's a lot of follow-ups to that. I mean, it could just be super quick for tanks, it could be airplay, it could be Banshees. A lot of stuff that can come out from this so far. I don't think it will be Banshees, just because we don't have a second gas, which literally, as I said, a second gas comes down. So this could now be Banshees. We do have the command center on its way down there for Polt, so he's going to be ahead economically, building it in the main base. So he's still got that wall off. It'll give him extra SCV production, extra mules, and this mining base, once he chooses to float it down. But a second barracks being added on here, so a lot of Marines going to be favoured. Still no gas from Polt, and that's compared to the 2 gas for Apocalypse. Factory just about to finish up. There is a lot of gas being banked, so I'm definitely thinking we're going to see Banshees. We may actually see Cloak Banshees. There goes down the starport, and there's a tech lab, so Banshees there on their way. There's going to be enough energy for enough gas rather to get Cloak out. The double gas coming out for Polt now, because of course he needs to catch up economically. But with this second orbital, he's going to have that extra energy for scans, so Cloak Banshees won't be too effective. He's also already got these 2 racks down, so he's going to have a lot of Marines to deal with, and not too much surface area. And I mean, in all honesty, there's no dead space around the side of this base. So to be honest, the only ways the Banshees can really hit in is about here. But the Marines still have a good area to attack, so I'm not sure how effective this is going to be for Apocalypse, who is getting up his command center now. So both these players are going to go a bit further on in this game. It's probably not going to all end here, but there goes down the factory for Polt. Judging by his build at the moment, I expect to see tanks out fairly quickly. We do have Cloak on the way here for Apocalypse. The Banshee probably going to follow up very shortly, just waiting for that 100 gas to come down. So there we go, the Banshee is coming out. We've got the command center in his jump. Of course, this orbital command has been done for quite a while for Polt, and that's really reflected in the work account. He's already 2 ahead, but it's the second mule that makes the huge difference. Each mule is worth roughly 5 SCVs of mining, so Polt is, well, effectively 7 harvesters ahead right now, which in a mirror matchup is just flatly comparable. Polt has the better economy by quite a lot. So here comes down the starport. So this again is going to look like it's going to be Banshees, but for the moment the first Banshee isn't yet out for Apocalypse. The scan did go off, so he saw exactly what Polt has, but so many Marines around here. I think he's going to be pretty safe, to be honest. I can't see anything coming down, but the command center was spotted, obviously. This starport, there's no reactor or anything going down yet, so, or even rather a tech lab on the factory, so we'll be interested to see what is done with that Starport. We do have the first Banshee out though. How much damage is this going to be able to do? That is the big question. The really Apocalypse has got to be asking himself is, well, I've got to do some big damage, and I think Banshees are an unusual choice on this match, but actually a Raven coming out following this up for Apocalypse, so that is pretty cool. I'm going to be really interested to see what he does with that. Usually you don't see Ravens until super late game TvT. But no, we've got this command center. It is going to be coming down. It could take some hits, but missile turrets are coming up, and the missile turret being placed here is absolutely brilliant. Would like to see another one kind of here, but the Marines are already there, so that's all fine. We do have the tech lab coming down. Viking already out, so that one Viking is going to mean that Banshee is doing nothing pretty much. Not actually going over yet to go and pick it off, but I'm sure it will any second. Apocalypse has also taken his orbital command after naturals, so this is all pretty balanced. But of course the SCV numbers, let's take a look at that, 33 to 28 in Polt's favour, and Polt is still happily getting 2 out at a time, so that's going to be good. This missile turret coming down here, everything is so normal. That Banshee just gets away with a little bit of life between its legs. The first tank is out for Apocalypse. For Polt, it's on its way. Just looking at siege mode coming out for Polt. I don't know if has Apocalypse done it yet. No, he hasn't even started that siege mode. So this is interesting. This Raven is why I really want to know what's going to come down here. But that should be pretty cool. Quite a few Marines actually coming out for Polt, and a medevac. So may see a little drop loaded up. Who knows? But without siege mode, obviously Apocalypse doesn't have the advantage that he'd like to have by getting that early tank. Meanwhile, more barracks coming down here for Polt, favouring that infantry. He's getting the +1 infantry weapons, and well, I want to know whether this is going to gear up for a drop, which you would think, or what. It looks like it's just going to run in, but there are 2 tanks there and quite a few Marines, so I don't see this being able to do too much. That one Marine went in forward just to see if siege mode was done, and well, for the moment it looks like Apocalypse is going to pull back. Forces are cancelled on that bunker, but more than enough stuff there at the moment. I mean, it's 18 Marines to 19, but only 8 actually moved out. The medevac is there though. That is what makes the big difference. Also, I'm not sure if Stim isn't done either for Apocalypse, so those Stim Marines are going to have a lot more damage output than Apocalypse's will. But for the moment, it looks like Polt's just playing this defensively behind this, getting up a good number of units, not doing too much with lots of his force, so isn't overcommitting in any way. A good scan goes down, we'll see literally everything that is there. We do have just more Vikings coming out, so this is going to be an air and ground fight for Polt and Apocalypse here. And to be honest, I don't know who's going to come out on top. For the moment, they're looking pretty even. I mean, Polt is ahead in supply, but not by a huge amount, only about 14 supply ahead. And I mean, worker count, Polt is really getting quite a long way ahead there, nearly 15 harvesters ahead, which is actually pretty huge. I mean, if we look at the income tab, Polt really pushing it there, and that's ultimately the gas income is double for Polt because he does have all 4 gas now, and he's also getting a 3rd command center. That is really quite early. Well, not early for a 3rd command center, but I mean, the fact it's coming down now just shows how comfortable Polt is. He's also moving out with a big chunk of his army, pretty much all of it. Apocalypse is going to try and cut him out, but both these players do have siege mode done now, just double checking that. Yes, they do, and it's all going to start coming down to positioning soon. As those tank numbers get higher, it's about, well, can I get my units in the right place? If so, then I engage. If not, I need to not go for anything, because otherwise you just die. Okay, so we do have this command center nearly finished up for Polt. Apocalypse hasn't even started a 3rd yet. He's just getting on more barracks. The actual production count, I think it is in Polt's favour at the moment. That's going to be 5 racks compared to 3. No, it's going to be 5v5. Sorry, I just can't count. I don't know why. Something wrong with me, but to be honest, Polt is looking really dominating. If we look at the army supply, very similar, but obviously that income is going to get more and more significant the longer this game goes on. The good marine placements by Apocalypse just to get a count on where his opponent is moving. Polt is just trying to get a good siege up somewhere, and really he wants to attack this base, which is only just now going down, but Polt has completely got all the map control at the moment. He is map dominant. There is nothing that Apocalypse can really do to challenge that for now. But ultimately, while Apocalypse has a nice position, sees the tanks aren't sieged, and that was a good little scan there by Polt, but does take one hit, only loses one marine from that though. The third base taken by Polt now, so again, he's quite nicely ahead in terms of the income. Still, he's getting 3 SCVs at a time, which again is going to then increase this lead even more, and I think Polt is just in such a good spot. And now these units aren't in the right position, and we could see Polt get a really nice siege up here, and that is exactly what he's going to do, but the medevac are going to give the vision of the high ground. Apocalypse just gets there in time though to prevent those units pushing up. These 2 tanks, 1 tank is in range, the Vikings and even the Banshee getting involved now, that is absolutely lovely, and those tanks are going to have to pull back, but 1 gets taken down for basically 3, that was good for Apocalypse there, but I mean the one concern I have is Polt, he's getting 10 marines out at a time, absolutely sick. He's also getting out only 1 tank. He's got the 2-2 infantry upgrades. That's compared to 1-1 is only just done here for Apocalypse. And, well, we will see that actually a planetary fortress morphing at a third. So that is about another 5 SCV difference in the Polt's advantage before having the orbital if he gets mules. We've got good little engagement here. The tanks are mutually shelling each other. Exactly who came out worse, well, it looks like Polt did, but he can afford to at the moment. 71 to 47 workers. If we take a look at this income tag, look at the difference. This is really considerable in Polt's favour. So that'll be really interesting to see when and if Polt really starts pulling ahead in terms of the army. The Sense Tower is great. It shows any attack route into his base, which I think is really, really nice. We do have the watchtowers being very aggressively fought over. These marines are going to push forward. The tanks do get a siege, but don't get any shells off quite yet. And that is really the important thing, is if those tanks shell the marines, it can cause big problems. But the big thing missing from Apocalypse's army are the medevacs. He also has Stim, but that's causing him to get an awful lot of low health marines, because this first medevac only just really coming in now. It's going to take a long time to heal up. Meanwhile, Polt's medevac number's already up at 3. Has cut production for the moment though, so it'll be interesting. A 4th command center is coming down here for Polt, but suddenly Apocalypse's army is moving up, and Polt needs to play this very, very carefully. He needs to pick off this force as best he can. He could come in from behind to try and deal with the tanks, or if not, just needs to pull back as quickly as he possibly would. Meanwhile, we've got a lot of Polt's army going in for a lovely little sandwich maneuver, and even the retreat craft has been taken down, one of the back tanks, and this is going to be a lovely sandwich here for Polt. And to be honest, this army is going to get cleaned up so quickly, it's insane. And there's the GG from Apocalypse. Lovely play by Polt. So that was game 1. Get ready for game 2. It's going to be in the next video, so go to my channel, find game 2. And I hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up if you did. Subscribe, obviously. See you in a second for game 2.